you know who made it.
Hello and welcome to the See Me Be Me podcast. Today we are joined by special guest Donna Otchere, who is the program officer at the Royal Academy of Engineering and also one of the co-founders of SiSTEM. So, Donna, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and a bit about how you founded SiSTEM.
Hi everyone, and thank you for having me here. I'm really excited about today's chat. And yeah, about me, my story is very, very complicated. And it started off as a young girl with a dream of becoming an engineer and found engineering through Google. I was so curious about what careers I could do, and we were asked to pick subjects for GCSEs, and your subjects basically determine what you can take at A levels and then on to uni. So I was good at maths and I was also very creative. I loved music at the time, played the trumpet, really loved my creative side, but I also loved the fact that maths was my thing and I was naturally very good at it and naturally good at problem solving. So I decided to type into Google like what I could do with both of these skills, my creativity and also my mathematics skills. And engineering came up. And I read the description. And I was like, yeah, love this. This is a bit of me. Went to school the next day and I was like, oh, guys, I want to be a mechanical engineer. And nobody knew what it was. And they were just like, oh, you want to be a mechanic? And I was just like, no. And it was quite strange for me to even come up with that career because before that, all my interests were like beauty, fashion. Yeah, it had nothing to do with like engineering. And there wasn't an understanding of what engineering actually was in my school. But by the time I got to year 11, I had my friend Mia, who also was doing engineering. So we kind of supported each other, like, yeah, we're going to do engineering. And everybody supported us. So I was able to win over my secondary school. Then when I went to college, I did physics, maths, further maths. And it was a big switch because my secondary school was an all-girls school. And then I basically went into the wilds and I realized that there wasn't actually that many girls that pursue careers in like engineering or maths.
Yeah.
Like I was one of two in my physics class, and yeah, a lot of people told me that maybe I should change careers and stuff. But I pursued it and managed to get into the University of Brighton to study mechanical engineering, then on to Queen Mary's to do advanced mechanical engineering, a master's in that. And now I'm at the Royal Academy. And yeah, soon I'm going back to uni again. So yeah, that is my little journey. And how we found the SiSTEM was basically through our struggles. My sister went through a similar struggle of feeling like she was the only one. And we got through our courses by talking to each other on the phone. Every night we'll talk on the phone, we'll encourage each other, tell each other that, yeah, we deserve to be here. And it wasn't by a mistake. And those chats basically pushed us to finish our courses. So now SiSTEM is just basically an extension of our sisterhood to make sure no one feels alone.
And then what I want to touch on, Donna, could you share, in terms of your experiences overall, can you just share some of the, let's say, some of the challenges you face being, let's say, a woman of colour in the STEM field, and just give us examples of how you overcame those certain barriers?
Yeah, I think my biggest struggle was the fact that I stood out and it's a visible thing. It's not just, oh, I'm a woman in STEM. It was like, I'm a Black woman in STEM. And at the time when I was doing my undergraduate, I felt like I had, I don't know, it was kind of like a weight on my shoulders. Like if I fail, I'm failing for all the Black women. And I didn't want to be that person to put the Black women to shame. So I would work really, really hard and I would not have a social life. I was just always in the library. And even though I did really well, and I'm proud of like the grades I got, I'm also sad that I was kind of robbed from my uni experience. And I wish I had the support that I have now, because somebody would just tell me like, Donna, relax, like it's okay, like have fun, because also the social side of it is important as well, because that's where you develop your soft skills as much as like the technical skills. So yeah, I think it is very important. I'll say this again, the support system again. The stuff that I went through was very unnecessary. If somebody told me, like, oh, you should just do this or you should go that way, I wouldn't have gone through the struggles. So now this is what we do through SiSTEM.
So 2 questions, one following that, and then one. You mentioned, when you told your friends the first time that I want to be a mechanical engineer, their response was, "Oh, you want to be a mechanic?" So for the young people listening to this, or even some of the adults as well who might listen to this podcast and think, "What is a mechanical engineer?" Can you explain to us what is a mechanical engineer? And that's the first question, and then I'll ask the second question afterwards.
Okay, I'm smiling because this question is actually quite hard because a mechanical engineer is very broad. So I understand people's confusion. It is not a mechanic, but it can go from, you can work in energy, you can work in design, and it's just an engineer that works with anything that moves, so the mechanisms. And I picked mechanical engineering because I didn't want to close myself off. I kind of wanted to just touch upon everything because I was interested in energy, but I was also interested in cars a bit, and I was also interested in design, and I didn't want to just block off where I wanted my options. Sorry, I didn't want to block off my options for the future, so that's why I picked mechanical engineering. And yeah, so yeah, in a nutshell, it is an engineer that works with anything that moves.
And being an engineer, you're always having to problem solve, and
Yeah.
you're always creating new products that makes people's lives easier. I thought I always say to engineering is a bit trying to problem solve and create new solutions to problems. But also as well, in terms of SiSTEM, you mentioned about your own experience feeling like you had a lot of pressure on yourself, weight on your shoulders. For your education, you had to sacrifice a lot. You didn't have the social life, but then being in a career now, being a mechanical engineer, there's not a lot of people of color, especially Black women, within that sector. So, after uni, at what period did you start SiSTEM, and how impactful has that been to other women of color within the mechanical engineering or engineering industry as well?
Yeah. So we started SiSTEM during my masters, and it was like towards the end of my masters. We were like, okay, let's start it. We had it in the pipelines for like 2 years, and we just left it there during COVID. We wanted to do it, but then we're like, I'll make one. So we just left it there. And then during my masters, we decided to start it. And it was so, I don't know how to put it. It was quite confusing to me because during my masters, it was horrible. Like, it was a very intense course, and I'm there telling people, "Oh, STEM's amazing," and at the back of my head, I was like, "I hate this," but once I finished it, I was like, "You love it." But during that time, it was really hard, and we had to we were interviewing people. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a job or anything lined up after my masters, so it was quite confusing again, but it was a good time for me to do my research, and speaking to people and creating a network helped me get the role that I'm in today. And yeah, the impact it's had on engineering is something that I don't think I would have imagined. We were able to go into schools and just like use social media to put all these wonderful Black women on a platform. Before I started SiSTEM, I did a little search of women in STEM on TikTok and also on like Google and stuff. And all I saw was just lovely, lovely people, but none of them were women of color. And it just confused me because I know that there's women out there. Why aren't they on the platform? Why can't we see them? So that's when we decided to use our platform to push these women out and create content to show other girls and everyone that we are here. And from that, I know it's encouraged a lot of girls to get into engineering, or also people who are engineers already, to encourage them to stay because they can see themselves. Representation is really important, because if you don't see yourself, you're not gonna stay. And I think that was my biggest problem with engineering, because I didn't see any female lecturers. I didn't see, like, I was surrounded by men all the time, which is nice, but you know, sometimes you just want a girl to be like, hey, but there was none of that. And some of the issues that I went through, what it could have been resolved if there was like another female that I could go and talk to. And there was so much unnecessary what's the word, unnecessary obstacles. And I believe that by pushing representation, you'll see a big shift with the numbers of engineering, because I think right now it's about 16.9% of women, and it could be a lot higher. And I know a lot of work is being done to push women, but as a company, what we're doing is trying to look at how we can keep women in the industry rather than just like getting them in. I hope that answers your question.
I just wanted to follow up on Niall's question with regarding SiSTEM, but you also wanted to ask regarding your role with the Royal Academy of Engineering, and what are the sort of strategies that you employ to support and encourage women in STEM with the Royal Academy of Engineering?
Yeah, so it's so funny. I didn't know that my job existed until I started interviewing people through SiSTEM. And when we were interviewing them, one of the ladies was working in science communication. And then I was like, oh, this sounds like me. So I started looking for science communication roles within engineering. And then a role popped up at the Royal Academy of Engineering. And I was like, oh, this would be perfect for me, because at the time I was leading the social media bits on SiSTEM. So it was basically similar to what I do with SiSTEM, but within the engineering world. So I decided to apply for the job, and I got it. And when I was there, it was really fun. I was able to communicate just hard things that you wouldn't be able, or things that are not easy to understand, but for the general public. And I was able to use like my creativity and also my science knowledge to just communicate that. And I loved it. And I did that role for about 6 months. And then another role popped up. And it was this role that I'm in now, the ecosystem program officer, which is a little bit different, still within communication. But basically, the Royal Academy has this company called Enterprise Hub, where they fund engineers to become entrepreneurs. And my role basically is to connect the community, the alumni community, to put on events, just to make sure that they're engaging with the program. And it's still communication. I get to meet these engineers. I get to just talk to more people, because a thing that I lacked with my other role is that face-to-face communication wasn't there. It was all behind the screen, which is nice. But I do love talking to people. I do love networking, and that love came from SiSTEM and just meeting people and meeting the community. So I just love the fact that I'm able to use the skills that I gained from SiSTEM within this role, and just create and sustain a community.
Now, Donna, the next question I wanted to touch upon. You mentioned earlier the importance of sisterhood, so I wanted to tap into your relationship with your sister Abigail. So it sounds the work that you two do similar to the work that me and Niall do at the Blair Project. So could you elaborate a bit more on, like, let's say, the importance of like sisterhood in your journey, like as women in STEM, and how it's essentially influenced your work that you do today?
And also, what is it like to work with your sibling?
Oh yeah. That is a golden question there. I think sisterhood was vital for me, and I've seen the difference from when I was kind of like doing things on my own, and then to the point where I opened up to my sister, and then we realized that we're literally going through the same struggles. And for me, there is so much power in sisterhood, not because it's just girls getting together in a room, but you can be open. You can create a safe space to talk about things that you might not be able to speak about at work. And one little conversation can change everything. I remember we did an event, and this event was for Black History Month, and there was a young lady that came, and she spoke about how basically she was struggling because she wasn't getting promotion, and people that have come just yesterday were getting promoted, and she was given advice at the event, and the next couple of weeks she wrote a post on LinkedIn about how she got her promotion. And there's stuff like that that make you think, wow, like, yeah, our sisterhood and our relationship was able to help a young girl reach her goal. And yeah, for me, it is so important to have that person next to you. I know Abigail's always going to have my back no matter what. We can argue about stuff. And yeah, you asked how it is working with a sister. Sometimes it can be annoying. As much as I love my sister, we can clash. Like, I am very like hot-headed when it comes with my ideas because I'm creative. So when I see something, I'm like, oh, this is gonna work. And then my sister's very logistic, and she's like, oh, but how are we actually gonna get there? And I'm just like, no, dream bigger. And she's just like, oh, but where's the money gonna come from? But you need to have that person to make sure you don't just like go off the cliffs with your ideas. So it just works. We're kind of like the ant and deck, I would say. Like you need that person to balance you. And yeah, as annoying as it can be sometimes, it's also a really amazing to build something. And I know, like, oh, when I have children, we always joke about when we have children, we're going to be like to them, like, oh, make sure you set up a company together, or like, yeah, just make sure that this stays in the family. So yeah, it's exciting. And I didn't actually expect to do anything with her. And initially, we wanted to do our own things. And then we realized that it might be powerful if we come together. And then SiSTEM was born.
In terms of the other question I had, and I'm glad that you mentioned it because it came back, was the thing around the support system. And if you had to reflect back, your support system was your sister who followed down a similar path, and you've now set up SiSTEM. If you had to look back, if you didn't have your sister, or let's say if your sister didn't go down that similar path, would you have still committed into the world of engineering, or do you think you would have dropped out?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I would have left long time ago. It's not, as much as I love engineering, it's just not the nicest place sometimes. And the things that I went through at the time were really, really difficult. And yeah, if I didn't have my sister, and if it was just my mum just saying go back, because obviously she comes from a different generation, and her generation love to work hard for no reason. So it'd be very different for me, because now I know my options, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could just go into another industry. It's okay. Yeah, I would have left. Sadly. But yeah, this is why we push the importance of like having that support, and yeah, just knowing that there's people that have gone before you as well. Because I think that is what I struggled with. I felt like I was the first one to do the course, but I wasn't. So yeah, I would have left.
Donna, what I want to touch on now is just based on some of the young people that you and your sister work with, how easy do you find it to open or change like mindsets to, let's say, young girls or young Black women in terms of pursuing a STEM career? Because some of the young people we work with, they feel that, oh, this is something we've never been introduced before, or nobody's encouraged us to go down this career path. So how easy do you find it to change young people's mindsets to believe that they can go into STEM careers?
Yeah, I think because of the way we market it, it's a lot easier to attract the girls. Like, we make sure we when we're going to schools, we show them that, oh, like STEM engineering isn't just like cars. Like, there's so many different careers that you can do within STEM. Like, let's say if it's if they're interested in beauty, we can be like, oh, you can be a cosmetic scientist. Like, this is what they do. If you're interested in, I don't know, some sort of engineering, we just make sure that it is marketed towards them and their interests, and we show them like, oh, okay, so you like the app TikTok, okay, that, you know, there's like engineers behind there, and just try and relate it to them so they don't see it as like a far distant dream, but it's something that is every day, and engineering is involved in our everyday lives. Like, it is so important. So for us, it was our mission to make sure they understand it. And yeah, we just try and make it as fun as possible. And yeah, also make sure that we go in person so they can see us like, oh, I'm an engineer and I look like this. And then they can be inspired because they can see themselves in us.
That's go on now.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, you ventured out into the entrepreneurial world. You and your sister have gone in together in the business world, and you know, doing very well. What would you say has been one of your biggest challenges so far?
I would say we thought that everything in the world was free. It was quite funny. We thought, yeah, people are very charitable, but the world is driven by money. And if you want to do things on a bigger scale, you need to have the money. So we kind of had to scale back and start with what we got. And yeah, most of the skills and stuff that I've learned, or even like from the Instagram page and stuff, is it's basically me using YouTube and upskilling myself before venturing out to pay someone to do stuff. And yeah, so we kind of work with what we have for now. And then, yeah, as time goes, it will grow.
And you know, how do you stay motivated and inspired to continue the work you're doing in face of, let's say, coming against setbacks?
Yeah, so the thing that motivates us is the impact we have when we go out to schools and stuff, or when people send messages to our DMs. We see the impact and we see ourselves in those girls. And yeah, you could just see it in their faces. Like, it's like the wool has been pulled from their eyes, and we tell them that you can actually do this. Like, you can be an engineer if you want to. And it's a beautiful thing. And it just pushes you to just get up every morning and do more. And you know that there's so many more people, many more girls to reach. And it's not just this country. Like, maybe right now we're thinking SiSTEM UK, that, but this thing is a worldwide problem. So yeah, it's just bigger than we think. And yeah, every day we just chip at the problem little by little. And yeah, hopefully in the future we will have conversations about them being like too many women in engineering. And yeah, that's our dream.
You know who made it.
It's that time where we head into the bonus questions of the podcast. We're going to ask you 3 fun questions. And yeah, let's find out a bit more about you. So the first one, just imagine you're going home this evening, you're going to throw a dinner party. You're allowed to invite 3 guests from the past or the present. Who are you inviting and why?
Oh,
Doesn't have to be engineering related as well. It can be, but
yeah. Oh, wait, I have
people
to have met these people in real life.
Well, they're coming round to your dinner party. I mean, they could be
Oh,
celebrities.
okay.
It could be anybody.
Okay, great.
If they're dead,
Okay,
we can bring them back alive.
Okay, cool. So present would definitely be Stormzy. Like, absolutely love Stormzy. It's actually quite creepy. As I've never met this man, but I love this man. So yeah, he would definitely get a seat at the table. Past. Ooh. Here in the past. Oh, past is hard. I'm trying to think. There's so many like cool people that I would wanna meet. Okay, let me do the future. Elon Musk would be at the table too. Yeah, I wanna just know why he took over Twitter. Like, what? What made him do that? It was just so random, but you know, yeah. Past. Oh, I'm trying to think. Who would I pass? That one's hard. I can't think of anyone from the past. Maybe I should put a woman. I'm screaming about diversity and I haven't picked a woman. Isn't that funny? Maybe Mary Angelo. Yeah. Still I rise. Yeah.
Now, Donna, the next bonus question we wanted to ask is: imagine you have the opportunity to send a message or piece of advice back in time to your younger self on the first day of your engineering degree. What would you say?
It would be to relax. Yeah, I went in there like guns blazing, like, yeah, I'm just gonna conquer all these men, and yeah, I need to be the best, and yeah, just relax, like, yeah, have fun, as I've said so many times in this podcast. But yeah, I just wish I chilled because yeah, I don't have much happy memories from uni, which is sad because I see all my friends and they always reshare like their uni memories, like their stories. The most I have is like videos of me in the library, which is great. But you know, that's the time where you kind of have to find yourself. And it took years for me to find myself while I was like working now. And I could have found out all the stuff I loved when I was in uni and I had the time to travel and all of that. Now, if I want to travel, I have to think, oh, okay, SiSTEM, oh, work. Yeah. But back then, I had all the time in the world.
Well, maybe when when you get that first contract in Ghana,
Yeah.
you can be delivering workshops and then working on your rest days close to the
Yeah.
beach or something like that.
Yeah, that's the dream.
And I love that dinner table. I love the guests on that dinner table. I think that's really interesting. Stormzy, Elon Musk, and Maya Angelou. I don't know who would dominate the talking on that table.
Maybe Maya Angelou.
Maybe Maya Angelou, yeah.
You're gonna have to let her talk.
Yeah. Elon's just gonna have to be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose the last question is, you know what, and this is kind of a fun one. If this was represented by a mascot or a superhero, like kind of character, what kind of superhero would it be, and what special powers would it have that would inspire girls to just join STEM?
Ooh. That is a good one. Yeah, someone with an afro. Yeah, superpower would be to be seen in every room that you walk into. Yeah. Yeah, because that is our biggest motto. Like we want girls to know that they're seen, and yeah, it's a confidence thing, and yeah, it's really a mindset. Like when you step into a room, like, yeah, I am here. Make sure people know that you were there. So yeah, just the power to be seen in every room you go to. I don't know whether that's a good power actually, because sometimes you want to be invisible, but yeah, no, not our girls.
Or what about if it's teleportation? It can jump into
Oh,
different places, so you can cover mass ground.
yes, that's true. Yeah, go back in time, change history.
Oh, back in time travel.
Yeah.
Spread the message to different generations. Like, yes, in the future, women built this. So come back. We're going back in time. Get you guys, inspire you guys to lead the generation.
Yeah.
So actually, though, if you did that, though, what period would you want to go back to?
Ooh.
This is just an extra one. This is just an extra bonus question.
Yeah, I know. That is a good question, because I feel like the struggle of women has kind of been consistent. And yeah, even though we were given like the right to work, the right to study and all of that, what was the sad thing is that the mentality of the society didn't really change. And right now it's kind of just like, I don't know. It's still bad, but it's not as bad. So what period would I go back to? If I said go back to like the 1980s, I still feel like I would, yeah, what can we fix? Because if it weren't fixed then, would it be fixed now? I don't know. Maybe I'd go to the future to see if anything has changed. That would be interesting.
Oh, and then yeah, if it's not, then it'd be like one of those. I don't know if you've seen the film Planet of the Apes, the old school one, where it's that the revelation at the end that it was humans who ruined the earth. And it was like, damn, that classic scene, damn you all to hell.
Yeah.
Like that, it'll be like that kind of moment. It's like, God, nothing's changed. Oh.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, well, hopefully it has changed in the future.
Yeah,
and things aren't still the same. Also, that'll be pretty bad as evolution. But yeah, Donna, this is all we got time for today. But thank you very much for being a guest on the CBB
Thank you for
podcast.
having me.
And no, it's been a pleasure. And what we do now is that we turn it over to you. This is your shining moment. Chance for you to plug the website, socials, how people can get involved or get in contact with you. The floor is yours.
Thanks. So if you want to stay up to date with me, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Donna Otchere. I'll be there. And then if you want to stay in touch with SiSTEM, it is SiSTEM UK. So that's SiSTEM UK on LinkedIn, SiSTEM UK on Instagram, SiSTEM UK on TikTok. And yeah, we're on YouTube as well. On all social platforms, it's SiSTEM UK. So hope to speak to some of you guys. Please pop a message if you've listened to this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And yeah.
Excellent. Well, yeah, again, thank you, Donna. And I'm sure, we'll get you back on a future episode and see how your journey has progressed from this episode. But yeah, thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.